This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. So let me reiterate that he is among one of my top students who is very curious to know things from the very beginning. And currently he is in 12th week. That is just halfway through the course. Or I would say 60% course is done in his case. And he has quickly switched internally within this time. So now, Satinder, I would like you to share your experience with others who are also inclined towards learning big data and want to make an impact in IT industry. So Satinder, I will
Sure,
leave it to you now. Yeah.
sure, Sumit. So first of all, thank you very much, Sumit, for offering this wonderful exemplary course. And it's just because of this course I was able to make the internal switch in the organization. Since the beginning, I was thrilled to make take a leap in my career. So I thought that why not, rather than trying outside, it would be bit easy for me if I will start seeking for the opportunities within the organization. So I was looking for the internal opening emails, and finally, as you mentioned, I am in the 12th week, and I was able to grab one of the opportunity, and it all happened just because of the course which I have covered. I would recommend it every bit of information. Starting from the first week till the 12th week, I have followed every bit of information in the videos as the Bible. I made notes. Sometimes what happens is people take the initial weeks very lightly. The architecture is not important, the map reduce part is not important. So I would recommend that every bit of information is very, very important. And I had been asked questions literally on the how the partitioners and the combiners works. So even from the first week till last week, whatever point I have covered, there were questions from it, and I was able to answer very well. Scoop and Hive, the kind of depth in which we have covered these inner course, I would say at none of the places you would find that material in at such depth. So it was very, very good. And the interviewer was very impressed who took my it was from the onshore, the CIO partners. So they were very impressed that the way I have explained the things in detail. So thanks once again, Sumit sir, for providing this wonderful material. So everything was covered in very much detail. So I have spent enormous amount of time in making the notes also. So I made the notes, I did practice, I did hands-on of all the weeks starting. Submitted the assignments. So I had put the enormous efforts. But yes, the big credit goes to you for providing this exemplary material. It would not have been possible as I was able to grab this opportunity just halfway through through this course. It all happened just because the content which I was having was way too good. So it
That's
was
great. That's great,
yeah.
Satinder. So, Satinder, when people join the course, many a times people say that I want to learn Spark because Spark looks a buzzword, and that is true. Spark is a buzzword, but people do not feel that other things are important. Now, as per your experience, what would you say here?
So Spark definitely, I completely echo with you, Sumit. Spark definitely is important, but the I would say the Scoop, Hive, uh, even the MapReduce, because MapReduce is the basic fundamental foundation of the big data, how the distributed processing works. So the way you emphasize in the very first week. So I would say even MapReduce videos are also equally important, because if you are able to understand that how things works in a distributed manner, so then only you would be able to understand the Spark. So it's like a kind of ladder which you have to follow properly, and you have to put in the efforts to understand all the concepts. So I must say that every bit of information is important. Scoop Hive is equally important, because in my interview, most of the time the emphasis was on the Scoop Hive, and definitely there were some questions from Spark also, but the major emphasis was on the Scoop and Hive also. So
Okay,
every
okay,
bit of
Satinder.
information is, yeah.
Yeah. So Satinder, before moving ahead, you can let people know how much experience do you hold and what technologies you used to work on, so that people who are with similar age experience and working on similar technologies can relate to you.
Yep. So I am having close to 10 years of experience, which is like mid-senior level of experience. So, and I have been initially, I was working, I was from SaaS domain, but then from past 5 years, I have been working in the data warehousing technologies. So from data warehousing to big data, I mean, I was kind of doing the data engineering activities. So that's why I decided to make my full-time career into the next level, which is the emerging field of big data. So that's why I thought I choose this technology, and I was able to get my desired skill set.
Okay, okay, understood, understood. So why only big data? I mean, you could have, selected some other technology. I mean, why were you very inclined towards big data? I mean, can you just highlight that point, Satinder?
So Sumit, to be very honest, after the data, uh, since I was working in the data warehousing, so I did a lot of research also prior to joining to this Trendy Tech Institute, that whether it would be, because most of the people, they will confuse you that a person knows if you know Java only, then only you would be able to come into the big data technology, big data world. But when I spoke to you, Sumit, at the very first conversation, you have put this thought that Java is something which is not a kind of mandatory. It's good to know. But even since I am completely naive in Java, I don't know Java, but then I am a successful big data engineer. So it's just because of, I mean, getting the good mentor and getting the direction also plays an instrumental role in making this move. So I am. It was my personal inclination also that since I am coming from the data engineering background, I should make my further career also in the data engineering. But I was kind of apprehensive about the that since I don't know Java, so I
Huh.
won't be able to pursue the way other institutes create kind of atmosphere that you have to learn Java for these many hours, then only you would be able to learn the big data. But that's not the case. I mean,
Understood.
it's good to know, but if even if you don't know, then also you would be able to make a successful career in this.
Great, great, great. Fine. Satinder, before moving ahead, I will tell the audience that if you want to ask him anything, you can send me over WhatsApp, just ping me, and I will select some of the questions that I'll be asking Satinder towards the end of this session, so that there is no confusion as such. So you can just post those questions to me on WhatsApp, and I'll ask him whatever questions make sense to me. So, Satinder, this looks very interesting that I mean, hardly 3, 4 months of learning, and you have achieved it whatever you want. I mean, even though not an external switch, but you have something to work on. But I want to ask you one thing. Before joining my course, were you aware of some of the big data stuff earlier?
Uh, I was completely, I mean, Sumit, I just knew the information in bits and pieces. Rather, I mean, I spoke to multiple guys also, but then again, all of them, I mean, offered that we will give you these many hours of learning, we will give you these many hours of learning. But again, no one was able to guide me in the proper direction that what big data stack is and how you should follow the appropriate path. So the kind of direction which I got, the clear direction which I got from you, is something which propelled me to make my career in this domain. I was aware of the things, but not properly.
Okay, okay. Satinder, I think now I started getting questions on WhatsApp. So, I mean, there is a person, Love Mahajan, who has asked this question. Did the company ask for any certification or was it purely skill based?
So it was primarily on the skill base. So if you will do the certification, it will be beneficial. But even if you are not aware, I mean, I have shown that in my current team also, I have experience, although I did not work much on the big data in my current projects, in the current team which I am working right now. But the amount of exposure which I got from the sir's videos, so I have shown that from past 2 years I have been working on the pseudo projects which are primarily on the big data. So certification is something which is good to have, but not a mandatory skill. So if you have certification, definitely it will create some kind of edge. But skill set is something which plays the most fundamental role. So let me share my
So
example. So
Satinder, just to stop you, sorry, here. I mean,
yeah,
just to let you know, according to me, certification does not matter. If I have to add, I never went for any certification in big data. I have never taken any certification in big data. That's what I'm saying, right? Just
okay,
to add. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Satinder, I have a lot of questions. Probably we can keep the answers concise so that we will be able to answer many of them. So let me
sure,
ask
sure.
you another question. So this question is from Kanika. The question is, how were you able to convince the people in company that, I mean, that he, so let me just read the question properly. How did Satinder was able to convince the current people in company that he want to switch and got to the interview stage with onshore? That's the question.
So, actually, it's the internal policies that when you are trying to opt for the internal movement, so the HR people will basically, actually, I won't actually name the policies, but it's the internal policies. This question is more towards the policy. So it's the company policies that you can, if you want, I mean, if you know the certain skill set, you can definitely upskill yourself and you can apply for the internal movements. So the company does provide the opportunities. I won't be able to name the policies that what all policies are there, but it's the company encourages people that you can take your career to the next level.
Understood. That answers it, Satinder. And feel free to hide any of the details which you feel are internal and should not be told. That should be clear.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Now there is a question from Gavaskar. Now he is asking, what are the expectations in Scoop and Hive? Any scenario-based questions you faced?
Yep, definitely in Scoop, they gave me a complete scenario that how the incremental imports work, and the way Sumit has explained in his videos that how the merge key concept, that is very very important, because in industry mostly we will be landing up with the incremental imports. So incremental imports, and definitely the data will also be changing. So merging and the key concept, the scenario based question was asked, and then there were multiple questions about the how the number of mappers works, and there were questions around the bounding well queries. So all those questions were asked, and in Hive, the mostly they were focused towards that how the joins work, because joins is something which is the most costly operation. And the way Sumit has explained how the map side joins works in Hive, it's wonderful. I mean, those the way I have put in the answers, the onshore people were very confident that this person knows the concept in details. So that's how I took it, and it was a seamless experience for me.
Understood. That's awesome. That's awesome, Satinder. Now there is a question from Mayank. Now he is asking, what is the current role you have shifted to internally, and what is the major day-to-day work as a big data engineer? So Mayank, I think since he has not joined the team yet, he just cracked the interviews. He might not be able to tell you what is the day-to-day work he will be doing right now because he has not done it yet, right? But I think what is the current role you have shifted to internally? I mean, is there any title, Satinder, which they have given you?
So it's like the opening which came up. So the opening was for the senior big data developer. So wherein they were asking about the someone should be very good with the data warehousing fundamentals. Someone should be good with the Scoop Hive and the PySpark and the Spark fundamentals. But then I told very upfront that I know till the Spark course. So some the questions which were asked to me in the Spark course, the way you answer to the interviewer, so your zeal tells that the person is willing to learn, and he once he will be they will be get you onboarded in the team, definitely this person would be able to suffice the requirements. So that's how it drove, and the position was for the senior big data developer.
Great, great. Satinder, one question from Chetan. I'm not sure whether you will be able to answer it or not, but what he is asking, I have total 1.5 years of experience in support, and I'm looking for internal switch which is encouraged in my company. How should I proceed?
So definitely, Chetan, the way ever since I joined this course, I was also thrilled to make the internal switch. So keep on looking for the emails which are coming, and even if you are from the support project, the try to convert your I mean, try to convince the person who is recruiting you that you have the real time exposure. So, I mean, if you will follow all the videos thoroughly, I am pretty sure that you would be able to fulfill the needs. I mean, you should be able to show the good amount of exposure that you have worked in the big data projects in the real time. So that will something which will be worked out if you will follow the videos diligently.
Okay, Satyendra, I think this also answers it. Now there is a question from Sanjay. I mean, however, I didn't get this question clearly. You can see if you can understand it well. So Sanjay says, how is the job starting in company? Means what job tasks are provided and you move on. That's the question.
So, job task, I mean, so if I would answer, so there is a request which comes from the onshore people. All of us are work. Some are working in the internal company for the internal organization. Some are working for the onshore banks. So the request comes in from the onshore people only. So they will give us that this is something which they want kind of this type of solution, and you have to work in tandem with the onshore CIOs people, and that's how the tasks are carried out. If I have tried to answer the question to a extent.
Yeah. Fine, fine, Satinder. Now there is a question from Kaushik. Now what he is saying, how easy it is for core DBA to get into data engineering role. Considering Satinder is from data warehouse background, may throw some positive light on this.
So DBAs, I mean DBAs are also working with the. So in my very first round, which was conducted from the internal people, so DBAs are someone who has in-depth knowledge about the performance optimization, that how things work. So I would say even for DBAs, it would be more easy because the way Sumit teaches in every video. So there is a pretty decent amount of focus in every video that how things are optimized in a fashion. So if I talk about the scoop, in scoop also Sumit has explained that these are the best practices which one has to opt for. And if I talk about the hive, we have broadly covered the optimization in three levels: structure level optimizations, and you must have seen in the videos. So the way, I mean, it would be kind of, I would say you will be having an added advantage that if you want to make move into this big data world, because all the optimizations are something which the recruiters are looking for, and since DBAs are closely working with the performance tuning, so you would be knowing it better.
Yeah, Satinder, that answers this too. Now Mayank has asked one more question. Were there any questions related to Python and Scala?
The recruiter asked me that do you know Python, but I told upfront that I don't know Python. I have worked Spark primarily with the Scala, but then he got to know from my confidence that even if they will use the Python with Spark, so I would be able to learn it. The moment I will get onboarded, I will definitely be able to learn it, so it won't be a challenge. And Sumit also explained that the way we deal with the Spark code and the Scala codes, so it's kind of somewhat similar. I mean, if you know the Scala programming, you would be able to code these Spark programs in Python also. And there is one small session also which Sumit has shown the small difference between these Python and the Scala code. So that's how it works. But
Perfect,
one thing
Satinder.
is sure, that be very honest that something which you know, so you know it very well. And if you don't know something, tell it upfront that this is something which you will be able to grab it. So don't be into the dwelling state. This is my recommendation.
Yeah, yeah, Satinder. I mean, that's a very good thing that you have mentioned. Be honest and candid because no one can learn all the things. Rather, if you know 80% and you highlight that and do well, that's good enough. Yeah. Now, there is a question from Minakshi. Now, she is asking after which week we can start applying for the job.
So I mean, I am halfway through. So I have started looking for it. So after, I would say, after the hive is over, which is like sixth week, so there are a lot of openings which I could see, which are primarily towards the scoop hive and the core of the MapReduce. So after hive, I think you can start looking for the opportunities. Though you there are the organizations wherein definitely the focus would be on the Spark and Scala because it's the industry trend. But after hive, I think you should start looking for the interview calls. After hive, you should be ready.
Okay, okay. And if I have to add on to this, I would say, I mean, majority of the companies, even though if they do not look for, I mean, only Spark, but they look Spark definitely along with other things. So I would say wait for some time until you at least get some basics of Spark and then you can apply. I mean, just with probably till seventh week when we learn Hive and all, probably that might not give you an edge. That's important stuff, but again, little bit of Spark will play a important role there.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah,
completely agree.
yeah. So Satinder, I mean, if you have to give some three tips to the candidates who have joined this session from your end, what will be those tips?
So I must say that follow all the videos very diligently. I mean, every bit of information which is covered in those videos is very, very important. Do proper hands on. I mean, don't take, I mean, that this is something which is not important, and don't try to flip over the concepts. I mean, every video is linked to the subsequent sessions. So follow every bit of information. Um, in a sequence, try to make the notes, do the proper hands on, and before going to the interview session, so I must say that make a one page notes that these are the quick points which I have to brush up before going to the interview session. So these are some quick tips I would say that following the course in sequence would be predominantly the topmost one. That is very, very important.
Yeah, yeah. Any other things apart from this, Satinder, that you would like to tell the audience?
So I must say that when you are going through the videos, I mean, try to make the notes of the key points also the way Sumit write on the notepad in the video. So try to made notes of every bit of information which was covered in the videos. So I have made the comprehensive notes, but at least the core points. Try to make the notes of those points so that whenever you are going for any call, so you should be able to quickly recall those points, and those will definitely play an phenomenal role.
Okay, Satinder, one thing I want to ask, did you see any other material apart from mine in order
No, so
to do this movement? Yeah.
no, Sumit. I mean, I have never seen any other material except the videos and the PDFs which are shared with you, and I must feel that there is, I even could not felt the need that there is something which I need to know. So every bit of information was thoroughly covered, so I didn't feel that there is any need that I should start exploring some other things, since the kind of course which you are offering, it's so comprehensive that even I can guarantee, I am having a decent amount of industry experience, so I can guarantee that this course is equivalent to 1 or 1.5 year PG program. So that's the kind of depth which Sumit sir has put in. I mean, it's the enormous efforts. Nobody will put in that much of efforts in creating such an exemplary videos. So it's every bit of information is covered in such a comprehensive manner. So it's as I mentioned, it's close to 1 or 1.5 year PG program.
So thank you, Satinder, for your kind words here. And this should definitely give some confidence to the people who have joined the session because the whole agenda of this session on Saturday is to motivate the audience because all are like you who really want to make an impact in big data industry.
Yep, yep,
Fine, fine, Satinder. I mean, it was a really nice session and we had a good talk and we have answered the best, I mean, questions as per the best of our knowledge. So I think people would have related or understood those things very well and can really gain confidence out of it. So with this,
yep.
probably we are running out of time too. We can wind it up and then we can quickly meet after 15 minutes for our live. doubt clearing session after this. Thank you,
Yep.
Satinder, for your valuable
Thank,
time.
thank you, Sumit. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sumit. Thanks, Satinder.
Thank you all for joining the session.
Thank you.